Now don't worry, I haven't broken my New Year's resolution yet. I actually bought this car at the same time as when I bought my DeLorean DMC-12 at that classic car auction. I swear, there's video evidence of it. And look at this beautiful thing. Unlike the DeLorean, which I bought by accident, I actually set out at that auction to buy a land yacht, and this was my second choice. I originally wanted a convertible, but they were going for way more money than I was willing to pay, so I bought this 1976 Cadillac Eldorado coupe for only $8,500. And other than the cracked bumper fillers, this thing is in mint condition with 54,000 original miles, and it just drives amazingly. It seems like Cadillac has been wandering around the dark in recent years. They really haven't had a hit in over a decade. The Escalade really was their last big hit, and even that's been overshadowed recently by the new ultra plush and beautiful Lincoln Navigator. Now Cadillac's changing everything up, and they've decided that they're going to be an electric focused brand, which I'm not opposed to. It sounds like a great idea, but really Cadillac, you should probably look backwards. Look to this before going into the future, because this 1976 Eldorado is a perfect example of what Cadillac has lost. It's a long way around the horn here. Now, I'll be the first to admit that this thing has ridiculous proportions. It's 224 inches long. That's the same length as a new Cadillac Escalade ESV. Holy moly. And the weight distribution might be the worst in car history because it has a 500 cubic inch V8 and it's front wheel drive, so all of the powertrain is right here in the first third of the car. Now you heard me right, 500 cubic inches. It was the largest engine ever offered in a passenger car at the time. And you'd think this massive 8.2 liter V8 would put out some impressive horsepower. Oh my God. Oh. But remember, this is the 70s when performance was robbed by emissions restrictions, and this 8.2 liter V8 only puts out 190 horsepower. No, that's no joke, 190 horsepower. And look how far forward this engine is. It's so weird to see a big V8 sitting almost in front of the front wheels, and that's because of this big transaxle back here. And that's why the nose is so long. In later Cadillacs, they kept the nose long, but there's just so much space up here. Like a 90s Fleetwood, you could actually stick your foot inside, but on this car, you actually need all this space up in the front. Yeah, it's like having the power to weight ratio of the Titanic with a single little dingy outboard motor. Gives the 0 to 60 of something like 12.7 seconds and a quarter mile time of over 20 seconds. Really, the only single-digit performance number with this Eldorado is the fuel economy, which averages 9 miles per gallon. Oh yeah, I'm sure stopping distance in a slalom course this car would be horrible as well, and passengers, if you ever tried to attempt that, would go sliding around everywhere on the flat bench seats. It's basically a big sofa in there. And all of that makes my Eldorado sound like a terrible car. But that's just because we've all been brainwashed to think that way. Okay, rant time. I blame the erosion of luxury cars solely on automotive journalists. Sometime around the new millennium, when Top Gear kind of had their series revived and every single car got taken around a test track for a review, automotive journalists quit putting luxury and comfort above performance. Every car had to do well around a track, otherwise it got made fun of. So they would take a BMW and an Audi and put it on the track with a Cadillac just so they could have some Clarkson-esque line making fun of the Cadillac when it was never supposed to be on the track in the first place. And Cadillac, just like anybody, would be tired of constantly being beat on, being a punching bag, so they actually started hitting the gym. They took their luxury cars and transformed them into sports sedans like European cars, and it's just a total disaster. Plush, comfortable seats transformed into sporty, harsh, big bolstered bucket seats. That way automotive journalists can't complain about sliding around the seats in the slalom course. They also stiffened up the suspension, so when they're in that slalom course, they don't have an embarrassing still shot of a Cadillac rolling in the turns compared to a BMW that barely does it. And Cadillacs were pretty much ruined by then. Thankfully, this one ain't. Oh, such luxury. Now, I should mention that the exhaust on this thing's been modified. It has Flowmasters or something on it, so it sounds a little weird. I like it though. Oh man, this is so nice. The only way you can get luxury like this nowadays is in a big giant SUV. Thankfully, automotive journalists don't take those on the track very often and bash them for not handling well. So they're safe, and that explains why people have gone from luxury cars to luxury SUVs in some part. I think the decline of luxury cars would have been much slower if this weren't the case. Now, of course, the definition of luxury has changed, not just putting performance above luxury and comfort, but also technology. If you look at Tesla, the main reason people find them so luxurious is because of their amazing tech. And when you take all of that away, the cars are really sparse, minimalist, and uncomfortable. Now, this Eldorado is the exact opposite of a Tesla. It couldn't be any more different, but it totally kills the Muskmobile in delivering a real luxury experience. Now, automotive journalists will bash the Cadillac because it doesn't have any steering feedback. They feel like any little bump in the road, an insect, you should be getting some kind of steering feedback from it. And that's just stupid, because in a luxury car, you want to be insulated from the world around you as much as possible. This steering wheel does a great job of pointing me in the right direction, but also, I can't feel a thing that's going on. And it's so easy to drive. The power steering is so strong that I can control this thing literally with my pinky. Now think about this for a second. I know I've done the pinky test before, but people are wanting cars that can drive themselves. They want a Tesla with autopilot, or even a Cadillac now with Super Cruise, or is that being discontinued? I don't know. But this Eldorado pretty much drives itself, because you don't need to give this thing hardly any steering input, just your pinky. And it's the same with the pedals. The brakes are so easy to push with the vacuum assist, and the gas pedal is nice and lubed, really easy to push. You have a totally flat floor to where you can stretch your legs out and keep your foot on the gas and not get tired. This is a car that drives itself in 1976 without any technology. All right, another pinky turn to merge on the highway. Now, this is from a dead stop, mind you. It's just so nice. So nice. Broke the tires loose a little bit on that gravel. It is torquey. Now, the suspension is the other great part of this car, because it does totally insulate you from potholes, from everything. It's fantastic. And when you couple that with this car's seat, this giant living room couch that you have in the car, there is nothing better to take on a road trip. I don't understand why more Americans don't beg for a car like this. Why are we so obsessed with performance numbers on luxury cars, making them sporty, when all we do is drive in a straight line like this at speeds that aren't sporty at all? They're boring, where all we need to be is relaxed and carried in comfort on a cloud. You can't buy this anymore, and it's such a shame. Oh yeah. Then there's the styling. Now, I know this 1976 Cadillac isn't the most beautiful Cadillac ever made by far, but it's still way nicer than the newest stuff. The interior, you could tell they tried. The seats are nice tufted leather. The plastic molded to look like wood actually looks like wood, which for some reason is hard to pull off in 2019. It's even textured, and it has a beautiful crest in it. The details in here, like the radio knobs having the Cadillac crest, the feathers or whatever that surrounds it, it's just so nice in here. And then outside, these really cool turbine wheels that are multicolored. It's really attractive. The grille is substantial. The hood ornament, it's just totally different than Cadillacs that we see today that look like vague Europeanish sports sedans that nobody wants. Now, I get that fancy inlays and hood ornaments and Landau tops are way out of date, but Cadillac used to take styling risks, and they almost did it again. In 2011, they unveiled that beautiful Cadillac El Mirage. It was one of the most stunning concept cars that I've ever seen, and everybody wanted them to make it, and of course Cadillac didn't. Instead, we got a four-door, watered-down version of it that nobody bought, and now Cadillac has decided to quit making. Now, if Cadillac just quit the charade of trying to be sporty and went back to their luxury roots of trying to be an affordable Rolls-Royce or Bentley, I think their fortunes would change pretty quickly. Now, if they're going to do that electric angle, combine some Tesla-esque technology, and going back to their luxury roots, they could be the standard of the world for luxury once again. Now, that idea has me really excited enough to contemplate Tesla swapping the '76 Eldorado, but I really don't know where to begin on that. For now, I'm just going to fix the bumper fillers and a few other minor issues associated with a car that's been sitting for a long time like this one, and enjoy it. I'm so happy to be back in the Land Yacht Club. Land Yacht loving again. Thank you for watching. All the way around the horn on this thing. Now, I will be the first to admit that this thing has ridiculous proportions. It's like 224 inches, which, why did I do this? I don't, okay.